Today, we're breaking down Babylon AD, the 2008 dystopian epic starring Vin Diesel, the plot, the hidden meaning, the ending, and the behind-the-scenes disaster that turned a promising franchise starter into one of the most notorious what-could-have-been stories in modern sci-fi. Let's dive in. Babylon AD is set in a bleak, near-future Earth, a world fractured by war, environmental collapse, and unchecked corporate and religious power. Nations have crumbled into lawless territories controlled by mercenaries, smugglers, and black market warlords. At the center of this world is Toorop, played by Vin Diesel, a battle-scarred mercenary for hire, living off the grid in post-collapse Eastern Europe. He's not a hero, he's a survivor. A man who's stopped believing in causes, countries, or ideologies. He only believes in getting paid and staying alive. Toorop is approached by a ruthless crime lord named Gorsky, who offers him a job that sounds simple on paper: smuggle a young woman named Aurora out of a heavily guarded convent in Mongolia and deliver her safely to New York City. But nothing about Aurora is simple. Aurora, played by Melanie Thierry, has spent her entire life inside the walls of a secretive convent, raised by a religious order called the Neolite sect, led by the enigmatic high priestess, and protected by her fiercely loyal guardian, Sister Rebecca, played by the legendary Michelle Yeoh. From the moment we meet Aurora, something feels off. She has an almost supernatural intuition. She can sense danger before it happens, absorb information at inhuman speed, and seems to exist somewhere between innocence and something far more powerful. As Toorop and Sister Rebecca escort her across a war-torn dystopian landscape through Russia, over frozen wastelands, through refugee camps and black market cities, the journey becomes less about a simple transport job and more about uncovering exactly what Aurora is and why so many powerful people want her. Along the way, we learn Aurora isn't just gifted. She may be the result of genetic engineering, a scientific experiment designed to create something entirely new. And most shockingly, she's pregnant, despite having never been with anyone. Whatever is growing inside her isn't ordinary. It may be the next stage of human evolution itself. Of course, a cargo this valuable doesn't move quietly through the underworld. Toorop and his charges are hunted relentlessly by mercenary rivals, by shadowy corporate religious factions, and eventually by the very organization that created Aurora in the first place. Bullets fly, alliances shift, and Toorop, the man who claimed to care about nothing, slowly starts to care about the girl he was paid to deliver. That's the emotional core the film is reaching for: a hardened mercenary, rediscovering his humanity through protecting something innocent and unprecedented in a world that has lost all of its own humanity. As the journey pushes toward New York, it becomes clear that Aurora isn't just being smuggled for profit. She's being raced toward a destiny that different factions want to control, some to worship her, some to weaponize her, and some to destroy her before she can become whatever she's meant to become. When Toorop finally reaches New York, the truth unravels. The Neolite sect isn't simply a religious order. They're revealed to have far more calculated technological motivations behind Aurora's existence. Her gift is tied to advanced science disguised as prophecy, and the birth she's carrying is positioned as the arrival of a new kind of being, one that could reshape the future of humanity entirely. Toorop, having spent the entire film distancing himself from causes and loyalty, ultimately chooses to protect Aurora and her unborn children, because somewhere along the journey, this stopped being a job. It became personal. The film closes on a note of cautious hope. Instead of letting Aurora become a tool of control for governments, corporations, or cults, Toorop helps her escape into a life of freedom, safeguarding the next stage of humanity from the very institutions that created her. It's meant to be a quiet, bittersweet ending, not an explosive one. And that tonal shift is part of why the theatrical cut feels so jarring compared to its heavier, more meditative opening hour. Here's the part of the story almost more fascinating than the film itself. Babylon AD was based on the acclaimed novel Babylon Babies by Maurice G. Dontek, a dense, philosophical, and politically charged story. Director Matthew Kassovitz set out to make an intelligent, slow-burning sci-fi film about faith, genetics, and the future of humanity. But the studio wanted an action blockbuster. During post-production, the runtime was slashed dramatically, Entire character arcs and explanatory scenes were removed, and the film's more thoughtful philosophical tone was replaced with a faster, choppier action edit aimed at mainstream audiences. Cassavetes has said he wasn't even allowed final input on the cut released in theaters. The result was a movie that confused critics, underwhelmed audiences, and became something of a cautionary tale in Hollywood about studio interference, a film with a genuinely fascinating premise, strong performances from Vin Diesel and Michelle Yeoh, and stunning dystopian visuals, trapped inside an editing job that never let the story breathe. It's part of why, years later, Babylon AD has developed a strange kind of cult curiosity for audiences going back not just to watch the movie, but to imagine the movie it was supposed to be. At its core, Babylon AD is a story about what happens when humanity reaches its breaking point, and whether hope, evolution, or even a new kind of life can still emerge from the wreckage. It's a film about a man who stopped believing in anything, finding something worth protecting in a world that gave him every reason not to. So did you see Babylon AD back in 2008? Do you think the extended, uncut version deserves a real release? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because next time, we're diving into another forgotten gem Hollywood never gave a fair chance. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.